Well, there's a very real chance this is working now. So let's send the link. Okay. So this morning I am going to do a little bit of live terraforming. Some AWS infrastructure for a project I'm working on. Right now we have Terraform for our GitHub, which just adds some users to a GitHub org, which is here. We've got a repo. This is a repo that bootstraps itself, but we also need some AWS accounts for people to play in. So often it is the case that when you get onto a team doing DevOps SRE stuff, the Terraform has already been set up. Like somebody's already gone and initialized the project or whatever, like got the directory structure set up and the authentication set up. So if you're new to operations things, you may not, it's just a part of the Terraform lifecycle that you may not have experienced. So I'm going to try to capture that today. So we're going to do this all from scratch with brand new AWS accounts. And I'm going to make all the resources and get them into Terraform right now. And I'm going to do this using let's do this here. Using a pattern, a Terraform development pattern that a colleague and I developed. Oh, geez. It's 2017 or something like that. I've been using Terraform for a minute. And so it is that this is you're going to see some opinionated stuff. And there are I would say like maybe 4 or 5 I've seen over the years, like competing strategies for architecting or organizing a Terraform, like a non-trivial Terraform project. And they're roughly equivalent. They're fine. Everybody has their thing that they like. I started using Terraform before TerraGrunt existed. So I know a lot of people love TerraGrunt. I don't really care about it. It solves problems that I had already figured out a way to solve before they came out with the product. It's cool. It does neat stuff. If you like it and you want to use that pattern, I bear no ill will to that. It's like, whether you prefer trunk development or Git flow or mono repos or Git submodules, it all sucks, in my opinion. It's all bad, right? Like there's every strategy you've got for organizing your thing, someone's gonna hate it. So like if you have one that you love and you are happy to work with, you should use that. If you don't have one that you love, then use the one I'm about to show you. And then you'll have some opinions about it. You'll either love it or hate it. If you hate it, find another one. That's great. I'm not so precious about the way I like to work that I want everybody to do it. I'm just going to do it this way because I know it works well. I have painted myself into many, many corners with Terraform over my career, and yeah, this is just like a way that I have found after banging my shins on all those mysterious edges to work. So first thing we need to do is make some AWS accounts. So this is my root AWS account for my company. But I'm going to do, and to be honest, like a lot of times when I'm a regular like infrastructure engineer at some organization, I don't get access to the root AWS account at an org, right? Like that's the people who have access to the company credit cards. That's the finance team. It's usually above my pay grade. So as a like a Joe Blow DevOps person, you're probably not going to see these bits. This is like senior infra people get access to the billing console, and it's usually because it falls to them to keep the bill down. Anyway, so the bits I'm going to do now, I've actually never done before, so this will be a little bit learning experience for me too. So I know that also I'm not as super um, well versed with AWS as I am with Google Cloud because I've spent most of my recent time working on Google Cloud, but I've worked on AWS a bunch before. So Google Cloud has this really nice parent-child project relationship thing where you can have like a separate Google Cloud account called a project. Um, for isolated as a totally isolated environment. We talk a lot about isolation, um, which AWS didn't have for a long time, and now apparently they have something. So I'm going to learn about what it is today. And yeah, I think I've looked at it recently. Let's see, console home. No. Billing and cost management. AWS Orgs. That's what it's called. Okay, so we're going to set up. So what? Basically, what I want, and the reason that you want this, and this is like I said, this is the stuff that it normally happens before you join, like a DevOps team, is often our concerns as like operations engineers are like, figuring out the correct level of isolation for a thing and then building baffles around stuff to provide that level of isolation. So, for example, there are some projects for which it is totally suitable to have one Kubernetes cluster with like a namespace called production and a namespace called dev, and you do all your development in the dev namespace, and then when you're ready to ship something to production, you just deploy it to the prod namespace. That's like, some seasoned SREs will hear that and go like, ugh. That's probably because you're accustomed to working with projects for which that is a not suitable level of isolation. Um, and that's fine. That's what your job is to look at the project and figure out what the needs are and then provide the level of isolation that they need. So often it is the case that a suitable level of isolation is a whole separate AWS account for production and a whole separate AWS account for non-prod, whatever you want to call it, dev, staging, maybe they're dev and staging, whatever. Um, and they should be as similar to production as possible. I'll talk more about that in a bit. But so anyway, I'm going to make a couple of AWS accounts for this project. We'll make a prod and non-prod. I don't know, we'll call it dev. But we'll also set it up in such a way that we can stamp out more non-prod accounts as needed should we desire them in the future, which is often a very nice thing to have. I once worked at an organization that really, really, really wanted to get to the point where they could burn down prod and bring it back inside of like a day. We never got to that point. We never got to that point, but that didn't stop them from trying. And I gotta say, I admire that because not many orgs even try. Uh, so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the add a base account button, get the console looking how I want, and then I'm going to terraform and import the stuff that I need, and sort of work backwards from there. So this is a little bit backwards. At the beginning, when you're first starting your Terraform setup, there's this weird chicken and egg situation you have to set up. For example, if you're putting your Terraform state file into a bucket, which you should do at the very least if you're not using a service like uh, Spacelift or one of these Terraform as a service companies now, then you got to create the bucket before you can start terraforming. So there's this little chicken and egg thing. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm just going to make an AWS account, and I'm going to call this prod. And I guess I need an email account for this. So what am I going to call this? Don't have a bunch of aliases set up in my Gmail account, but what I can do is just call it like that. I would like to make this stuff accessible to all people who are playing along in this adventure, this little DevOps adventure that we're doing. And let's see, the management account can use this IAM role to access resources in the member account, organization account access role. There's probably some tedious I am assume role nonsense that I'll have to figure out at some point, but I'm not going to worry about it too much right now. Okay, so we have a pending AWS account. Requests. There are no pending requests to create a AWS account. I have to request it? Well, that's super dope. All right, well, I'm going to make another one. Let's call it dev. And dot and we'll click create AWS account. You all pending. You submitted a request to create one or more AWS request date. Does somebody have to approve this? That sucks. Yada. Oh, no, nobody has to approve it. There they are. Okay, great. So there's my management account, where I've got stuff for Progredo, and then here we've got 2 bootcamp accounts. That's great. So let's hack some code. So we're gonna do, and we're gonna do this. Now um, again, this is what you're going to see. The Terraform you're about to see is like fairly opinionated. It's the way I like to structure this stuff. I make use of subdirectories and symlinks to produce isolated Terraform projects that operate using the same Terraform modules on different AWS accounts so that you know that you're using the same Terraform that you applied in stage is going to be applied in prod. You get that confidence, which is, you'll hear me say many times, all that you want from Terraform is confidence. Anything else that Terraform provides is a bonus, but the thing that you want most, the thing that I want most from Terraform, is confidence that it's going to do what the fuck I thought it's going to do. Um, and anytime you see Terraform that is too clever by half and complicated to read, that is a attack on confidence about what it's going to do. And so at all times, I consider my job as somebody who maintains Terraform to um, fight back the attacks on my confidence about what's going to happen. So um, anyway, so the idea is that you go into the prod directory and oh yeah, we're tofuing. I keep saying Terraform. We're tofuing now. We're gonna use Tofu for this project. I don't give a shit about business licenses. I don't give a shit about HashiCorp. I don't give a shit about Mitchell. I'm just using open source software because it's open source. Um, anyway, yeah, the idea is that if you use Terraform workspaces, you have to run a Terraform workspace command to switch from prod to stage. Which means that you have to remember to do something before you make a change to what could be a production environment, which means that you're going to forget, which means that it's an opportunity to fuck it up. So that's why I don't use Terraform workspaces. In this setup, you have to CD into the correct directory to apply the change. So you can never accidentally touch production if you are in the dev directory and you type Terraform apply. It can never accidentally touch production because you can never accidentally have the wrong workspace activated because we're not using workspaces. This is an attack on workspaces. It's just me recognizing that I fuck stuff up all the time, and so this is the way that I get in front of myself. This is like writing a unit test, right? It's a way to structure my project in such a way that it makes it difficult for me to fuck things up. That's what I want from this structure. So let's just do one of these, and we're gonna need one of these, and we're gonna need one of these, and since I can't remember stuff and I have some other Terraform nearby, I'm just gonna look in here at how I structured this, and this is probably fine. Okay, and so we're not going to use not going to use the GitHub provider over here. So we can get rid of this. Actually, let's just switch it. AWS. And what is the AWS provider version up to these days? I click the use provider button. 5.49. Cool beans. There we go. Okay, and we're going to switch this path. So I've got my state stored in a Google storage bucket. This one, prod. Um, so you have to store your state somewhere. You don't want to store it on your laptop. I have used Atlantis. I have used Terraform Cloud. I don't give a fuck about either of them. They're whatever. They're fine, I guess, if you like them. I don't care. They I've used Spacelift. I haven't used any of the other competitors out there, but these are just tools that like basically provide nice um, controls and auditing and tooling around the process of typing Terraform apply. Essentially, that's all they do, and they manage your state for you, and they do some other nice stuff. Um, they're great. They represent a level of operational maturity that, in my experience, many orgs barely reach, let alone need. Um, if you are storing your state in a storage bucket and you have a small team of operations platform people who are typing Terraform apply periodically, that's probably fine, in my opinion. Again, this has to do with the level of, in this case, not isolation, but the level of operational maturity that is suitable for your organization. If what I'm suggesting curls your nose hairs, then it's very likely that the project you're working on requires a higher level of operational maturity than I am advocating for. That's all. I'm not saying that using those tools is a bad idea, just that at this point, I don't give a shit. So I'm not bothering. But the reason I mentioned it in this breath is that the reason I'm putting my state in Google Storage instead of S3 is that because of the properties of Google Storage buckets, the write guarantees. When I say write, I mean WRITE, that GCS as a storage platform provides. S3 is this like eventually consistent thing. So if you store your Terraform state file in an S3 bucket, then in order to acquire a lock, you also have to use a DynamoDB table. This is how the AWS provider works. At least that's how it worked the last time I used the AWS provider. Maybe it's changed since then. But anyway, and I just introduced the concept of lock without explaining it. A lock is what stops me and another developer from typing Terraform apply at the same time. When I type Terraform apply on my laptop, a lock is acquired, and that means that nobody else can type Terraform apply on their laptop until the lock is released. The lock has to exist somewhere outside of my laptop so that other people can like check and try to acquire it. And depending on your backend, this thing here, where Terraform is storing your state, you may need, this a storage bucket may be insufficient to provide those locking guarantees. S3 is insufficient to provide those locking guarantees. That's why, even though I'm using AWS, I'm terraforming AWS right now, I'm going to store my Terraform state in GCS so that I do not have to use a DynamoDB table. A file in a GCS storage bucket, the write guarantees are sufficiently, I don't know, robust, durable. I don't know. I don't really understand exactly what it is. I don't care about Raft and friggin' cap theorem and stuff like that. I just know that if you put your Terraform state file into a Google storage bucket, you don't fuck around with Dynamo. So that's what I'm doing. So this is where our state's going to live. And this is where this is the version of Terraform we're going to use. So that's fine. So now if I do Tofu init, and I have to log into Google Cloud and off login. And let me bring up my browser. So you can all see me type my password and hack my shit. Okay, there is my thingamajig. There's my password. Continue. Allow. What I should do is, I don't know, figure out some IAM-based way to do this, but I haven't bothered yet. So let's see. I think I also have to do auth application default login. And the reason I have to do this is because the Google Cloud ecosystem is a total fuck. God knows why this is necessary. But anyway, this is necessary. with feeling. Okay. All right. So now, if I type Tofu in it, it should be able to read and write from the GCS bucket, download providers, and now we can start typing plan. The other reason that I'm not a super big fan of, I'm trying to say, the other reason I'm not a big fan of things like Atlantis, Terraform Cloud, Spacelift, whatever other things. I've got a list somewhere. Other things that are like that. So there's no shade on, again, no shade on these products. Is that as somebody who hacks a lot of Terraform, I feel that you absolutely need to be able to type Terraform plan, Terraform apply over and over and over and over again while you are iterating on your Terraform code. And anything that gets in the way of that slows the development cycle down, and slowing the development cycle down sucks. So yeah, I have worked in environments where I had to go into Atlantis and click apply um, in every time, just while developing, just like running a Terraform against a staging environment, and it super sucks. It's a great way to lose momentum or to never get the chance to build momentum at all. So I'm not going to bother with any of that shit. Okay, so what next? I'm going to make a well. Let's see. First, I guess we should auth against prod. Let's get some auth set up. Oh wait, sorry. I guess we should auth against dev. We'll start in dev. So, what is the preferred way to auth against AWS these days? Authorization and configuration. I mean, should I just use? I don't know if I feel like fucking around with the. I think I might just put some credentials in my AWS config file. I think I might just put some credentials in my AWS config file. If provided with a role ARN, the AWS provider will attempt to assume this role during using the supplied credentials. Yeah, at some point, I might document a process of doing authentication better. But since I plan to run this from my laptop, and since I intend for the people in the bootcamp who are going to be working on this, I intend for them to run this from their laptops. Um, I might just start with an AWS config file and take it from there. I don't know if it, I assume AWS, since I last looked at it, has come up with some, yeah, web identity tokens. It looks like they have some kind of thing that is better that does like key rotation and stuff like that. Now it's not the time to learn a whole bunch of new shit about authentication for AWS, so I'm not going to fuck with it. I'm just going to uh, give myself scary god powers using our key and secret, and we'll just get on with our lives. Okay, so how do I switch accounts? Is there an account switcher? Actually, for that matter, can I make an IAM user in the root account? Is that a thing? Root is the parent OU for all accounts. When you apply a policy to root, it applies to every OU in the organization. Is it possible to make a user in one that just has power over everything? Probably. Maybe. I don't know if I really feel like figuring this out right now. Okay, I'm just going to. How do I even switch into this account? Okay, well, I guess the first thing I should do is terraform the org itself. Yeah, well, you can tell I've never done this before. So this is the tricky bit. So, okay, how do I terraform a whole org? I've got an ARN. An ARN is like an Amazon unique ID for all resources. Account settings. AWS account management trusted access is not enabled. I don't know what that means either. Let's just do a quick Google here. So, Terraform AWS org. How does one do this thing? A Terraform module for managing an AWS organization. Is there a useful thread on Reddit? I'm looking for some guidance. I have a fairly large idea. Look into aft. What is that? You run AFT operations in the AFT management account. What is aft? AWS Control Tower Account Factory for Terraform. Good God, that sounds like a nightmare. Yeah, I don't want to fuck with that. Actually, for that matter, I just need to figure out like how do I even AWS switch accounts? How do I even switch between AWS accounts? Blah, 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 blah. Oh my God, I'm definitely not doing that with Active Directory. What an absolute nightmare this is. Is there not just a fucking drop down that I can like click in here somewhere? Organization, orgs, AWS account actions, AWS account move, close, remove from organization, export account nest. How do you go in here? I want to be in this account. Remove, move, close, manage tags, policies. You haven't enabled any of the 4 policy types available to orgs. Should I read the docs? Create accounts or invite existing accounts. Organize your member accounts into organizations. Create policies, enable services that support AWS organizations. It is often my experience with Terraform that it's like 99% reading and 5% writing code. No, no, no. I deeply do not want to fuck with Active Directory today. Switching between multiple AWS accounts. How is this done? Okay. The naive way of doing this involves constantly logging out and back in each time you want to change accounts or set up multiple Chrome profiles. Oh, yikes. Well, that sounds like a good time. On your root AWS account, create an organizational unit, which we did. Yada, yada. Organizational unit view, et cetera. Creating an IMS. Once we have the root accounts for production and staging, we need to create a user that can easily hop between accounts. Unfortunately, and for reasons that aren't clear to me, root users cannot hop between other root accounts. We need to get a dedicated IAM user and then give them access to all the accounts we created. Are you shitting me? We give this user a username, we give them access to AWS management console. It's important we don't give programmatic access here if we need programmatic access to these accounts. Okay, this is merely for hopping between AWS console across your accounts. Okay, it sounds like maybe then what is possible is I can make an IAM user in the root account. Let's see here. Where's my, there we go. Which, because I am a bad operations person, I have just been using my root account for my stuff, which is how I do things. All right. Let's see. So, what is this going to be? We'll call this like something like that. Yeah. Specify a user in Identity Center. I want to create an IAM user. Sure. Let's do custom password generator. Ding, ding, ding. You know what? This is scary. I'm going to generate a password off screen so that you people can't see what I'm generating. There we go. Yada, yada, yada. Ding, ding. Okay. Oh, yeah. Give me special characters too. Okay. There we go. Custom password. No, I don't care if I change password later. If you are creating programmatic access keys, you can generate them after you create. Yeah, okay, well, let's get there. Add this user to group. Do I have to give this user? Create an IAM user. Okay, once we have the root user, we need to create a user that can easily hop between accounts. Yes, we give them their console password. US console. We give this user username. We give them access to these. It's important that we don't give them, if we need programmatic access to these accounts, we use root credentials to create new ones. This user is merely for hopping between. I don't know if I'm going to listen to that. I think I might just do what I want. I'll give this user administrative positions and then the admin, because I am the admin and want to use this role. If you're using someone else in your organization, you may want to ask, okay, switch roles. Once you create this user, all right, fine. Where did I go? There we go. Add user to group. I don't have any groups. Permission to do anything. Yeah, sure. Right on. Group name. Admin access. There is one great problem in all of DevOps, and that is should you use dashes or underscores, or should you use camel case? Uh, I will tell you now that it doesn't matter because no one you ever work with will ever come up with a consistent way of doing things. So it doesn't matter. Just use whatever your heart feels in the moment because tomorrow some idiot's going to cut a PR and they're going to use whatever way they want to do it and it doesn't fucking matter. Okay. So blah, 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 blah. Now I have a new group that I can stick my user in. Great. Admin access. Create user. Retrieve password. You can view and download the user's password, etc., etc. Let's see here. I got password. Password is still on my clipboard. Okay, great. Return to users list. So now you haven't viewed or downloaded this user password. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I've got it. So does that mean now that I can log in as, wait, how do I, yeah, okay, what do I have to do? Once you create this user, you'll be given a special login link. Click through, wait, what? I didn't get a special login link. Do something special, although the screenshot's a little outdated. Maybe this is old. Let's see here. Let's see. If you log in, you should see that the main account menu gives you a new option called switch role. All right, how do I get that? Do I have to do something special to get the ability to switch roles? Or maybe AWS console. I am user login with switch role. How the fuck? Okay. Let's see here. I am user switch role. Switching to a role. Role specializer. Oh, I deeply don't want to fuck with this right now. Creating user permission to switch roles. My decisions. Now it's a developer able to play sandbox environments. Okay, am I missing something here? Like, what is this blog post not telling me? AWS console. I am user permissions. I'll give this user administrative permissions as I am the admin and I want to use this user. If you're creating a user for someone else. Okay, once you create this user, you'll be given a special login link. Click through to this link and then log in as this user. Once you log in, you should see that the main account menu gives you access to a new option called switch role. All right, let's just try that. Do this in an incognito window. So I don't have to log out from over here. All right. Yeah, log in. We'll go log in as I am user. uh, what was our account? Let's see. We'll log into the dev account, which is this is the account ID. I am username. Wait a minute. That I am user isn't even in this account yet. I guess it's got to be this account. It's got to be the account I'm in. It's got to be this one. Doesn't make any sense to use the other account ID. All right, let's try this one. Okay, this account ID. What did I call this user? rsalmon or admin. Here. Well, okay. Can I do stuff now? Okay, you can access all the thingamajigs. Yes, thank you very much. Okay, please piss off. How do you make that go away? All right. Okay. So now there's a switch role button. Switch role screen will prompt you to enter the account number of the account you want to switch to and the account number of the stage instruction account we created earlier. Oh, really? Well, that's quite nice. Switch role. Aha! Magical. in the role section, we need to input the role name that we created in those accounts and then give the account display name and a color. All right, now how the fuck am I going to create an IAM role in an account that I can't fucking log into? Hmm? Hmm? Riddle me this. Let's see here. Okay. Any root account. Create person staging. I use Playground. Okay, note. All these accounts we're going to create. I'll get build a root account. Yeah, once we create these organizations, we're going to add user accounts to them. Under accounts, we're going to create some new accounts. Okay. Just can't originally. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, I guess that role already exists, so I can just use that. That's the role. I saw that and I didn't pay attention to what it was. Okay, so earlier when I created those AWS accounts, they already came with a role that you can assume in them. So I guess this is the standard way. You know what? Now that I think about it, I think I did this when I was consulting with a client a couple years ago. So, as is the case, somebody else set it up, so I had no idea how it works, which is why I'm googling it now. Great. Okay, so I guess that's the role that I'm going to switch to. So let's see here. So okay, so let's see. I am role name. You can get this from the okay, so that's display name. This name will appear in the console navigation bar when active. Okay, let's just say yeah. Display color. And we'll make it blue. All right. And account ID. Okay, where accounts? Account dev. There's the account there. Account ID. Cool beans. And switch role. Can I now click the switch role button? What will happen? Ooh, look at that. Now I'm in another account. And then, oh, nice. Okay, so I can switch. Great. Great, great, great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, how should we do this? I think for the moment, given that we've been at this for almost an hour, I think I'm just going to create an IAM user in each of the target accounts that will be the Terraform user or something like that. And yeah, and then we'll make it a project to improve our auth story as part of teaching how to use Terraform. So I'm just going to do this the naive way. And just to generally talk about auth for a second, um, managing secrets is hard. Leaking secrets is a serious problem. Taking secrets seriously is important. Um, but also the amount of time and energy you put into secrets management and protecting them needs to be commensurate with this, like the project you're working on, right? So if you work at a fucking bank, you're going to spend a lot more time worrying about this than if you're working on a boot camp for you and your friends. So yes, I recognize that what I'm about to do is not in accordance with security best practices. We'll get there. We'll get there. So okay, let's create some IAM users in this new account. I'm going to create. God, that dropdown used to be a lot more useful. There we go. The Google Web Console too is just it's a sad state of affairs. Okie dokie. IAM users. We'll create a user, and we're just going to call it Terraform. Terraform does not need access to the web console. Terraform does need a shit ton of permissions. It needs all of them. Is that the right thing? Yeah. Group name. Admin access. Didn't I put a dash there before? I sure did. Okay, so we're going to add our Terraform user to the admin access group. Create user. I don't give a shit about tags. Tags really only come in. Tags become more important when you have a CFO who cares about your AWS bill and wants to know why the fuck everything costs so much money. Um, we don't have one yet, but we will get to talking about billing and finances sooner or later. So we'll tag stuff sooner or later. But again, we're not going to worry about it for the moment. Okay, so we got our Terraform user, security credentials, generate access key. We're going to, oh my gosh, wow, this has gotten more involved. I'll avoid using long-term credentials like access keys to improve your security. Consider using these. You can plan to use this access key to enable AWS command line interface. What's this? AWS Cloud Shell, AWS CLI v2 to enable authentication through an user in IAM Identity Center. God, man, yeah. Well, anyway, you can tell I haven't used AWS in a fucking while, can't you? I don't care. I don't care about any of these things. Do you plan to use this access key to the election local environment too? Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't care. Don't care. Description tag value. Describe the purpose of this access key. It's for Terraform. Create access key. All right. I'm going to put this in my AWS config file. And obviously, for reasons of my own safety, I do not want to uh, show you all my secrets right now, which is kind of a drag because I really want to show with transparency how this works. So I'm just going to, I'm looking at my actual AWS config file on another machine or another screen here. But basically what you do is inside of your home directory, or let's just do, there is this file called credentials. In that credentials file, it looks like this. I'm just gonna do so. There's a name for me, like a nickname that you can give to your account. So we're just gonna call. I'm gonna call this Bootcamp Dev. Um, and often I usually, as a comment, you don't have to put this in here. All that has to be in here is access key ID, and whatever it's going to be, and then AWS secret access key equals, and then there's some amount of secret key material right here. And then this allows you to using all the standard AWS tooling and everything else that uses the AWS client libraries. You can refer to this profile by this name, bc-dev, bootcamp-dev. And then it will just plug in the credentials for you. And like the AWS CI understands this, and Boto 3, the Python client library for AWS understands this. Terraform providers understand this. Like it's just the standard way. Anyway, obviously shit has changed since I last was responsible for an AWS account because there's better ways to do this, but this is the way I'm just going to do it for the time being. So I'm not going to show you the secret key that I'm about to type in here because that would give all of you access to my AWS account. And as much as I love you, I ain't giving you that. You can do this in your own AWS account. Now the real trick will be, can I do this without accidentally showing it to you all? Um, so Okay. So what I've got is I just put my I, I'm going to concatenate this to the end of my AWS, my actual AWS credentials file. And so now I can do uh, something like this, and that AWS command is going to use the credentials that it found in that file under the profile called bc-dev to execute the sts get caller identity command, which just talks to Amazon and says, hey, who is making this API call? And you can see that the ARN is the IAM user that we just created. So great. So now I have an IAM user for the dev account in my creds file, which means that, going back to the thing that I wanted to do in the first place, like 20 minutes ago when we went down this fucking rabbit hole, I can now authenticate AWS. So how do I, wait, AWS provider, use provider, documentation. Where's, oh yeah, authentication. Okay. Names profile. That's what I want. Or in a names profile. Where is provider region? No, I'm not going to. Okay, provider AWS. Profile. Oh, it's just called profile. Okay, great, great, great. Okay, so as we were, so get back into this file, and we're gonna go. There's a provider block, so provider AWS, and profile is going to be called bc-dev. And what else needs to be in there? Shared config file, shared credential file. No, is that it? Oops, I can type words. Okay, so possibly, uh, possibly we can now start adding resources. Let's see if that works. Um, so just for the sake of whatever, let's. Now the question is, can a AWS organization terraform itself? I don't know. I don't know if that's true, if that can happen, but try it. I may have to put the Terraform org in the other. Like I may have to terraform the Terraform org in Terraform for the root Progredo AWS account. I'm not sure. Just for the sake of argument, let's just. Oh, you know what we could do? Let's import the Terraform user, the IAM user that I just created. After switching screens. Oh yeah, right. Okay, done. I'm gonna bring this incognito window back over here now that I have hidden the credentials so that nobody with the screen reader can steal them. And what I'll do is I'll just create an IAM user in my Terraform code and then use that to see. So IAM user. Okay, AWS IAM. It's got to be in here somewhere, right? Are you shitting me? AWS IAM user. God, if only there was some fucking way for search to search things. That's what I get for. All right. Great. Fine. Actually, I don't need all that. I don't need all that. I just need this. All right. So, and I'm just going to do this right here. As a matter of fact, actually, I can just do Tofu plan, and that will tell me if the credentials that I've just packed together are actually going to work authenticating. Right. Okay. So we're missing some details. Oh, I failed to provide a region in my thingamajig here. So that's because I don't have a region in my credentials file. Let's just do, I guess, US Tire Fire 1. See how that works. Nice. Okay. It looks like it wants to create that user. So this means that it couldn't have made the calls to the AWS API that it needs to do this plan. The authentication didn't work. So the authentication must be working. So great. Our creds are in good shape. So yeah. So let's terraform our own Terraform user. Let's do this correctly. Yeah. So that okay. So the name is Terraform. I can change the name up here. A path. I remember knowing what this was at some point, but now I don't remember why. Under what circumstances does an IAM user need to have a path? What the hell is a path with respect to an IAM user? Access key, last created, blah, 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 access advisor, groups, tags, permissions. I don't see anything in here. Give us IAM user path. What is a path? Maybe it's what is the purpose of the path variable? Hey, there we go. Yada, yada, yada. The path variable in IAM is used for grouping related users into groups in a unique namespace, usually for organizational purposes. Do I care? No, I don't care. All right, so we'll get rid of the paths. We'll get rid of the junk. Are there any other attributes that I care about with respect to my IAM user? Attribute reference, ARN, ID, name. Why are those the same? Well, whatever. Unique ID, tags. Okay. So, uh, US I am user dot Terraform, and I think you need the whole ARN, but I'll just try typing the word Terraform and see what happens. Oh my god, it worked. Are you serious? Damn, that I can't believe that worked. Well, ain't that some shit? Voila, there she blows. Did it put? It wants to remove a tag? I don't care. Yeah, fine. Remove the tag, whatever. Let's see what happens. As long as it doesn't want to, as long as it doesn't become like a change that it always wants to make. There we go. Fine. Whatever those tags are, I don't care. Cool. Okay. So now we have some Terraform. We authenticated. Yada yada. All things are going well, but we are not using modules yet. Uh, so we can't use the same Terraform that we just made in the dev directory to run against um, prod yet. So I'm going to. What did I? Oh, yeah, AWS. Okay, so let's do. I don't know. We'll call it Bootstrap or something like that. When it comes to organizing your cloud resources into Terraform modules, you can pretty much guarantee that the only thing you can be sure about is that sooner or later you're going to move them from one module to another. There is not, as far as I can tell, there has never been a hard and fast rule that is the exactly correct way to organize cloud resources into Terraform modules. Uh, I could think of like a dozen different ways, and there you could make an argument for all of them. I think the only thing you really can, like I said, you can only thing you can really be sure about is that sooner or later you're gonna have to move them, and so you're just gonna have to get comfortable moving shit around your Terraform repo. Um, I prefer to put things that are related to the same functionality in the same module. So in this case, I'm writing a module that is about Terraform itself, um, accessing AWS. So I'm going to put the IAM user Terraform into this Terraform module. It's a little bit meta. This is why this like chicken and egg thing happens at the beginning when you first start using Terraform. Kind of melts your brain a little bit. Once you got this in place, it kind of becomes less kind of like snake eating its own tail. Um, with mod taking a step back in general with modules, I always strongly advocate against using community modules, which is not to say that they are bad, but it's just that because they need to work for everyone, they have so many fucking knobs and configuration options that you probably are never going to use that you by using them by adopting community modules or modules from groups like Gruntworks, who provide like a catalog of battle tested Terraform modules as part of their like value prop, which is great and a sick business model. I was so blown away when they first did that. I was really impressed. Um, that's great. That's fine. If you know what the fuck you're doing. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing, then the complexity of those modules, because they have to have all these knobs, all these options, all these configuration things that somebody might want to flip a feature on or off, you not only need to understand the Terraform, you need to understand the module interface, right? What made sense to the module authors to provide a higher order abstraction over all of the many resources that are inside. So it increases the amount of complexity in your Terraform project, which means that it reduces the amount of confidence you will have when you make a change, which is something that I will always push back on. So I always write my Terraform modules from scratch. I often look at community modules to see how to do things. But I'm in this group of people that we're working together. I'm going to have everybody write Terraform modules from scratch because the reasons I just outlined. So we're writing a module. We're writing a Bootstrap module. So you always have to have a main.cf. You don't have to call it doesn't matter. You don't have to call these what you can call them whatever you want. Terraform considers all files in a directory to be related, so they're all just going to get merged together anyways. But I like to call them certain things based on convention. Doesn't matter. Okay. So actually, there's probably no inputs in this. Actually, we don't need variables. We probably can get away without variables. So what I'm going to do is actually let's do this. I'm just going to move this resource from one place to another. And I'm going to, over here, call my Bootstrap module, which is in the modules Bootstrap directory and has no inputs. Okay, so right, and now I've added a module. So as soon as you add a module, you have to run your tofu init again because init is the thing that goes to the source of the module and brings it into your current stack state, whatever you want to call your Terraform project, so that it can be executed. Now, with respect to modules, there's a whole school of thought about like how to um, store your modules, how to distribute them, how to version them. I was standing at a meetup, or at a conference, I should say, in Toronto, like 2 weeks ago, maybe, in a room full of SREs, and I stood in front of them and I asked people, hands up, everyone who versions their Terraform modules, hands up, folks who just let everyone get latest. And the room was pretty evenly split. Um, I can make a good argument for both sides. Um, I'm not going to bother with any of those arguments right now. I'm just going to do it like this. We're not versioning our shit. We're just getting started, so I'm not worried. Okay, tofu init, tofu clan. So now it's going to want to do a delete and a create. This makes sense because I just moved the Terraform from the root module into a separate module. So it's going to try and delete the user and recreate it. But I don't want it to do that. Instead, I'm going to do a Terraform state move from here, excuse me, to here. So now when I do a tofu clan, hey, oh, we're in good shape. So now we're cooking with modules. Great. So, right. Now, uh, so, uh, oops, did I fucking do that? I did fucking do that. Look at that. See that? That means that my Terraform state file for dev is in my G Cloud storage bucket under a subdirectory called prod. I know storage buckets don't have directories, they have paths, but I don't care. G Cloud storage buckets list. Yeah. So I'm going to have to move that file from the prod subdirectory. Yeah, okay. So I accidentally so what happened was it's been, let's look at prod versus stage. So prod is on the right, stage is on the left. And what I accidentally did is while I was working in stage, I put the word prod here. or I guess dev is what I called it. While I was working in dev, I put the word prod there, and so when I typed tofu plan and tofu apply, the Terraform state file was created in my storage bucket under a path called prod, which is actually not prod. So what I'm going to do is move this file from the prod subdirectory. Oh wait, it's called vault.ts state. I'm going to move it to that path state. There. Command execution. Well, oh, if only I could type words correctly. Oops. Come on. There has to be. How do I skip by words? Well, anyway, I guess I'll just go slowly. Okay. Okay, so move from prod. Oh, yeah, right. To when I move it to dev. That's what I said, right? That's what I meant to say. There we go. Okay, so move that thing to the other place. Okay, and if that worked, go into backend configuration change. The backend configuration change. Oh yeah, right. If you wish to attempt, so I've got myself into this situation before. So Terraform is saying like, hey, where the state is has changed since the last time I ran something. Now, it used to be, this is a nicer error message than you used to get. You used to get a dog shit error message. Didn't make any sense. Change to the backend configuration has been detected, which may require migrating existing state. If you wish to attempt automatic migration of state, well, let's just see what happens. Normally, all I would do here is blow away the .terraform directory, and that will make all these problems go away. But let's see if Terraform's or Tofu, whatever, is smart enough to, let's see, if you wish to store the current configuration with no changes to the state, no. If you wish to attempt automatic migration of the state, I don't know, let's see what happens. What will this do? Yes. Do I still have that bucket? No, I don't. I guess I just ran that command twice. Let's see. DSUtil ls. Did it do anything for this thing? Is it still okay? Well, oh, that's interesting. I have a dev and a pro. I guess. Hmm, what's in there? I just moved that to. Didn't I? No, I moved it from prod to dev. Right. So what's in this? Weird. Let's see what happens. I don't know if this is a big deal, but we'll see. To list. Okay, well, it still has the stuff in the state that I expect to have, so I'm not going to be too concerned about that. But then if I go into the prod directory, now that I have dev here on the left, prod here on the right, so my prod Terraform state, which at the moment we have not yet imported the Terraform IAM user into Terraform in the prod directory. So do the old tofu init. So does that? What's in there? Nothing in there. Okay, it's an empty state file. Uh, great. All right, we got an empty state file. So, okay. What does this want to do? Now, here's the question. How is this working? Because it's using. I still haven't changed this thing here. Oh, that's right. So, right. This is actually right. So I need to not only do I need to store the Terraform state in the correct place for this separate AWS account, I also need to use the credentials for the separate AWS account. Otherwise, it just executed that plan against the dev environment. And the reason that it showed that it wanted to create, well, I guess I won't do it now. But anyway, the reason that it showed that it wanted to create the users because it's executing the plan against the um, using the dev credentials, but the prod state file, which is empty. So it doesn't know that that Terraform IAM user already exists in the dev account because it's looking at a prod state file. So now we've got prod credentials and a prod state file in the prod subdirectory, which means that this should fail because I don't have, yeah, okay, I don't have BC underscore prod or BC dash prod in my credentials file yet. So back to here. So I have done this once for, okay, so switch back. Great. Let's do this again. We'll play, oh, weird. That's super cool UX. All right. Whatever. Shitting on the AWS console limitations is so passe. It's nobody's fault that that thing is a disaster. Okay, so let's go back and click the switch role button. This again for Bootcamp Prod. And then once this is done, I think I'm just going to call it because I have to get ready for some other shit I got to do today. So, what was the name of that role? Oh, yeah, where's that blog post? There we go. This is the name of the role that we're going to drop into. Organization, account, access role, display name. We call it BC prod. And we're going to make prod red so that you know you are about to do some shit when you in prod. Okay, we are in prod. Yay. All right, users. And again, we're going to create the Terraform user, generate the keys for it, get them set up, and then basically this will set it up in such a way so that people who have these keys can type Terraform plan and Terraform apply in stage and prod, or I guess in dev and prod, on their own without my help, and iterate. This is what I want the participants of this bootcamp to be able to do. I want them to be able to go off and type, edit, kick Terraform code, type Terraform plan, type Terraform apply in these AWS accounts, and start producing infrastructure. So this is all the stuff that will get them to that point. So that's where we want to end with today. So okay, so we'll go Terraform is the name of the user, provide user access to the AWS management console. No, they don't need access to the AWS management console. But I am going to have them all Terraform their own user accounts so that they can get access to the get started with groups. We'll give it the scary god powers. Admin access. Create user group. Okay, add user to group. Next. Create user. User created. Okay, so now do that thing where I generate credentials, but I do it in a way so that you all can't see. Because even though I love you, I do not trust you. So I understand the above recommendation and want to proceed with an access key anyways, because I don't give a shit. Create access key. Okay. So again, I'm going to, let's see. I had this file. Okay. I'm going to get rid of that. And it's going to look like this. Oh, I started to mention this thing that I do, and then I never actually did it. So in my credentials file, I make a point to add a comment and then put the AWS account number right here next to the profile name that I give it. So I have this file. It's got 6 or 8 entries for all the different AWS accounts I need access to, and just because it's so common that you need to sometimes all you have is the AWS account number, and you don't necessarily know the mapping back to your profile. I find this helpful to just stick it right in my credentials file. So AWS access key ID yoink equals and AWS secret access key equals, and no, I'm not going to fucking show you guys, people, folks, lovely human beings. You don't get to see my secrets. Okay, so what I'm going to do is append this to my AWS credentials file. And now when I use my BC prod profile and I call get caller identity, it should tell me that I am now the Terraform user in the AWS account that I just put on that line. So great. This looks great. This is exactly what I expect. So, okay. So now that profile exists. So if I hit, right, what happens? Is it going to try to create its own user? Okay, right. So it's going to try to create the own user. Of course, the user exists. We already created it. So this, we're just connecting. We're closing the loop. We've created the user in the console. We've set up the Terraform to use the user, and now we're going to manage the user inside of Terraform. It may seem, like I said, it's a little chicken and egg at the beginning. The reason for this is that tomorrow, if we decide we want to change the way that this Terraform user works, we want to change something about it. In fact, I'm actually missing some important things because I do not have the IAM role that we made this user a member of in here yet. Maybe I'll make that a task for bootcamp folks. But in the meantime, this will allow us to start working. So I'm going to Terraform import this user that already exists, and it's just called Terraform. Shit, I guess I really should have called that user Tofu. Well, anyway, I've got HashiCorp brain. Fuck. That's what happens for hacking on this shit for a decade. Okay. So now, where are we at? Great. Okay. So, all right. So let's look at what we've got. So we've got we got three directories in here, right? We've got dev, we've got prod, and dev and prod are both calling module from the modules directory. And so the idea is that there's not a ton of difference between dev and prod. In fact, yeah, now I'm actually afraid to scroll up in case there's something scary in these things that I just dumped on the screen. Let's get rid of that. Creds file. Let's just do this. So there's no difference in that file. And there are minor differences in this file. So there's a little bit of duplication, and so there's a couple things you can do. One of the things you can do is if you want like really serious guarantees that prod and dev are identical or as identical as possible, is you can, instead of having a separate main.tf in each subdirectory, you can symlink from a root main.tf. In practice, that's kind of a pain in the ass because often it is the case that you are trying something in dev that you do not want to try in prod yet. So having them be the exact same file is sometimes a little bit overkill, but it could be. There's no reason that it couldn't be. Um, and yeah, anyway, just doing that, having them be the exact same file is again a tool to provide you with confidence that the thing that you tested in dev is going to be exactly what you get in prod. So I think I'm going to stop here. It's been a while. I've talking for a while, so I'm going to let's just make sure there's nothing in here that I don't want. Oh yeah, there's nothing in that, so I'm going to get rid of it for the time being, and we'll talk more about actually. Ooh, wait. Okay. Do I want the log file? Yeah, I guess I want the log file, and I think I already have the .terraform directory in my git ignore file. Yeah. Okay. So none of that's going to get committed. Okay. So let's cut a branch. We'll call this AWS module setup, something like that. Adding basic AWS structure. Okay, okay. And we go to GitHub. Thank you, whoever's blog this is. Michael Timms. This is March 2020. Thank you for your blog, Michael Timms. That was helpful. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, wait, no. Oh, yeah. Is that it? That is the right repo. Okay, so compare and pull request. Adding basic AWS structure. This PR adds. This is sort of how I often will do my some generated files. Yeah, it's just a bunch of checksums. Like I said, I don't care about that. All right, this PR adds basic structure for AWS TF. Separate accounts and reusable models. Boom, create pull request. And I'm just going to go ahead and actually, I'm going to tag Sean and Matt for reviews on this PR, who are possibly tuned in. I'm not sure. I didn't say anything to anybody when I went live. I just dropped the link and went off and started doing things. So maybe they'll watch this later. I don't know. If you're out there, what's up, boys? And yeah, in the meantime, yeah, I'll let them take a look at this before I merge it. And I think that's it for me for now. So I'm going to hit stop. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, we'll come back and do some more of this. I'm gonna do next. Well, I don't know what I'm gonna do next, but there'll be more terraforming, and then also I think we're gonna do some live coding of like a basic Python development environment for a web app, which will be very similar to this, just bootstrapping, getting things started, so there's actually something to work inside of for Win. All right, that's it. I'm signing off. Ciao.